Hey, Active Minds families. I hope everybody is doing well on this cold January afternoon. Everybody is staying warm. We're here at Active Minds staying warm, planning and going over summer 2022. We wanted to give everybody some updates on different COVID policies and most importantly, the schedule for summer. So without ado, let's start with a few updates. Let's dive right in. Just like any other program, we have health screenings. We take the temperature. You do not have to bring a thermometer and tell us what it is. We will take it. They cannot be symptomatic, particularly with the COVID-like symptoms. And we can't have anybody in a household who's either waiting on a test or is currently positive. They'll ask those questions. They can come in if the answer is no to all of them. Once they get in, we have a two-prong approach to mitigate transmission. Number one, we want to limit aerosol droplet spray, so we have a mask mandate. We never got rid of the mask mandate. In June of last year, prior to the removal of the mask mandate on July 1, we read an article by Dr. Scott Gottlieb of the FDA, who was talking about a variant in the United Kingdom, and that they had predicted that sometime in mid to late July, it would peak here in the United States. To be careful, we kept our mask mandate through July, and thank goodness we did. We didn't have any outbreak. We didn't have anybody contract COVID at any of our camps. And so we didn't have any loss of care because the health department didn't have to come in anytime there is two campers that have COVID, they shut down the program. We've never had to deal with that. So we're very careful in terms of not just health, but also loss of care. So we have that mask mandate in place still, and we've never gotten rid of it. We also, the second prong approach is hand hygiene. And so we borrowed from Disney a machine from Meritech. It's called an ELF, and it's automated hand washing unit. It's really cool. It's funny. In a pandemic, you want kids to play in the sink and wash their hands, and that's exactly what they do within this machine. And it scrubs and washes their hands. It kind of tickles if you've ever done it. And so that way, when they come in, we know that they don't have any symptoms. They are not feverish. They're masked, and their hands are clean. That's about as low of a mitigation as you can in terms of trying to mitigate transmission. In the event that droplets get out of the mask, we also have medical grade HEPA filters that are circulating at every location, trying to get, again, mitigate that risk, trying to get any type of transmission down. We have a sterilization company, a cleaning company that comes in every Friday after the kids leave. And so that way, each new week when we have new campers, we also make sure that everything is sterilized and cleaned for them. So that way we're starting fresh every week. Lastly, all of our team members are vaccinated and boosted, and that will remain in place through the summer. We do suggest that you consider getting your campers vaccinated. When we see some of the guidance from the state come down this May, it's our belief that those who are vaccinated and can show a vaccination card, if they're exposed, may not have to quarantine. There could be different guidance for vaccinated campers and unvaccinated campers. So strategically, it might behoove you to get vaccinated. Let's jump right into summer 2022. Now, all three locations, Bel Air, Perry Hall, and Lutherville, all are on the same schedule. However, Bel Air is a little bit different because they have a longer summer break, so they start a week earlier, so they get an extra week, and that's where we'll begin. We start with Bel Air's first week, which is Spies Week. This is a really cool week because they get to go to what I feel is one of the most interesting and engaging museums in the United States, the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. The International Spy Museum has hundreds and hundreds of interactive and often kid-friendly exhibits. And so like one of them is really cool where the kids actually get to climb into an air duct It sounds like claustrophobic, but don't feel that way. They're ginormous. But they get to crawl through the air duct up above the room and across, and they get to look down and listen, and they're supposed to be listening for certain things. It's pretty cool, you know, it's almost like a cliche of what the CIA would do, but it kind of gets them involved and engaged. There's listening things that they can use to try to hear across the room. It's a lot of fun to kind of engage within that theme. As well, campers will be going to Laser Dome in Pennsylvania. This is the biggest laser dome or laser tag program in the area. It's ginormous. It has 2 different floors. It is a perennial favorite of all of our campers. We go just about every summer, and they get unlimited video games. They get unlimited laser tag. There's a dance dome where they get to dance, as well as a pizza lunch. So it's a lot of fun. Week 2 starts camp for all 3 locations, and we start by making P.T. Barnum a little bit jealous. We will be going to TSNY in Washington, D.C. This is the Trapeze School of New York, and it is a lot of fun, and it's a lot of memories. So they actually, campers, get to do physical trapeze, and they have to climb up just like they do, you know, in the circus, and they climb up to the top. They get hooked up to this harness, which allows them to almost be automatically belayed if they do kind of fall off the swing. And they get to actually swing out, and they actually go as far as getting their feet up and flipping upside down. If anybody wants to see what it's like, we've gone one other time before, which was about 2 years ago, I think 2019. And if you go on our Facebook page, you should be able to see pictures of it and the kids doing it. I was amazed at how much they could do. I just thought they might just swing, but it was really cool. But that's not all they're going to be doing. They'll learn how to do the silks, which is pretty cool. That's not super high, and if they're scared of heights, they can just do the silks and learn how to wrap themselves up and tie themselves up in a way so that way it's safe. They don't get raised up or anything like that. Later on that week, we will be inviting Michael the Clown to camp. He will come around to all 3 locations. He has been with us one time before in 2020 at the start of the pandemic when we didn't really go out very far. We still had a little bit of a circus theme, and he is a legitimate clown, like a professional clown. He goes on to like cruise lines and things like that and does these little shows, and he does a show with our kids, and they actually get to ride the miniature the bicycles like this big, and they're riding it all the way around like with their feet out. It's kind of crazy. And they do a tightrope, and he has this he's super funny. Okay, week 3, I'm going to tell you as a science teacher, I'm very excited about this because the Smithsonian's Natural History Museum spent about 7 years and almost $100 million on this new dinosaur exhibit. We were supposed to go there the year that COVID hit in 2020, and obviously it got put off. So we will be going this year. So I'm very excited. It is massive. If you've been to the Natural History Museum as a kid, it looks nothing like it did back then. So we're going to engage in a really cool theme that everybody seems to love, which is dinosaurs. We'll go around to other pieces of the museum, the mammals exhibit and things like that, but we're going to be focusing on the dinosaur exhibits, and they are ginormous. There's like 700 different specimens to actually engage within the exhibit. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very educational. Later on the week, we have invited the dinosaur hunter. This is the only paleontologist at the University of Maryland. He has visited us in the past. I think most recently is 2019. And he actually brings a lot of the fossils that he finds doing research in Montana every summer, and he always comes out before he leaves for Montana. He always leaves in July. So he's going to come out, he's going to visit the kids. They're actually going to hold a real life raptor tooth. It's really cool. It's almost the size of their hand. And so they can ask questions. If they have fossils, we've had kids bring in fossils that they have to show him. Maybe he can give them a little insight on it. They're more than welcome to. It's going to be a lot of fun and very educational as well. Later on that week, we have a private showing at Horizon Cinemas. Kids are going to have two different choices. Parents will choose for them. Number one is, both are big summer hits. Number one is Lightyear, the Buzz Lightyear standalone film, as well as the finale to Jurassic World Dominion. With that also includes your snack pack. So kids get popcorn, a drink, and a candy that's included. Okay, week 4 is Americana week, which is always my favorite week because even though I'm a science teacher, I do love history. Last year I had mentioned how nervous I was for this idea that I had, a way for us to engage with kids within history, but I was also super nervous because it involved hiring actors to represent historical figures, and it was going to kind of have this national treasure theme where they're trying to solve clues that'll lead them to the next person. It was one of the best field trips within either education or active minds that I've ever been a part of. It was incredibly hard and difficult. It took a lot of work. The team did incredible with that. We are going to again do that this year. Completely different theme. We are going to go to Gettysburg, and the theme is going to be trying to save Lincoln's gold. Okay, and we're going to try to save the Union within the Civil War by saving the gold. And so we have to be able to find the gold, and by doing that, we're going to have to solve clues. Harriet Tubman's going to be there. Obviously, Abraham Lincoln's going to be there, and they're going to help us along the way. And the kids will be learning about these historical figures. It's a great way to engage in history. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm still a little nervous, even though last year was such a success, but it should be a really good time. Lastly, for the week, we will be going back to Horizon Cinemas. I usually don't like to take a second trip back to back, but there are so many movies that have been backed up for 2 years, and they're all being released in June and July, and I'm worried if we do it too late, we won't be, it won't be an option. So we will be seeing Rise of Gru, the new Minions movie. Again, that also includes a snack pack of popcorn, drink, and candy, but you're also allowed to pack anything else that you'd like to bring. You're more than welcome to. Okay, week 5. I am very excited because it's an exciting week. It's Adventure Week. Last year we did 2 Adventure Weeks. We've consolidated down to 1 this year. There are 2 options. And so let's start with our younger Group A members have 1 option, which is river tubing. It is a very docile, meandering river. It only goes about 2 feet deep up here in Moncton. We've done it before in the past. It's very popular in the summer, and it's a lot of fun. It's not super adventurous. There's no reason to be nervous or anything like that. All kids, even though they're in tubes, they also have to have a Coast Guard certified life preserver as well. That's just standard Maryland Comar regulations. So it's super safe, it's super slow, it's a lot of fun. Kids get into things, they can stop and take a break, get into some mud and do kid things. Now, Group B, that's our 3rd through 5th graders, have 2 options. They can do the river tubing, but they can also do zip lining, and this is through River Riders out in Harper's Ferry. We use them for a lot of our adventure stuff, such as whitewater rafting. And we've done some of their aerial parks, but this is a zip line experience, if you will. There are several. They go from as short as 200 feet to as long as 1,000. They are very high. If your camper doesn't like heights, you might want to have them on the river tubing. But if they're a little bit more adventurous, more than welcome to send them out with us to test their adventure. Later on that week, we're going to be doing an adventure hike. Last year, we did the C&O Canal, which was probably the best hike in the state. Mr. Rick over in Lutherville, he'll tell you he actually went back 3 or 4 times since then to do it. This summer, we're going to be going to the Chimney Rock Loop up in Thurmont, Maryland. It's kind of out by Frederick. It's a really cool hike in that it's not like a flat path like Gunpowder is. but it's not insanely rocky either, where it was kind of dangerous on the C&O Canal for a kindergartner to be there. So there are some rocks that they can climb on. There's some peaks that we can look out over. It's going to be a lot of fun and getting kids back out into nature for Adventure Week. Week 6 is Science Week. Very excited for Science Week, as I am a science teacher. But this time there are 2 options, and it's not restricted based on grade or age range. The very first is really exciting to me. We're going to go to Luray. Luray is a limestone cavern in Virginia. It's about a 2-hour drive. It's a bit of a hike. It's an all-day trip. But it's going to be a lot of fun because it is massive. We've done some caves up by Hershey a few times, and they're okay. When I walked into Luray, it's mind-boggling and breathtaking at the same time. And we're going to do a tour, specialized tour that goes through there with the kids. It's about a mile and a quarter of a walk through the cavern itself. But there's some really amazing and very rare formations within this cave that aren't found anywhere in the world. So it's going to be a really cool experience. The other option, option B, is a trip to the Maryland Science Center. Now, the Maryland Science Center, I'm sure everybody's been to it, needs no introduction. A lot of exhibits for kids, a lot of hands-on things. Whether you're 5 years old or 11 years old, there's something there for you. And so that is the second option. Later on that week, we will have the mad scientist coming back to camp to do a show with us and an experiment. It's called Mineral Mania. And it's actually a hands-on demonstration, whereas some of his shows that he's had with us before, it's just simply a show and they're blowing things up and doing something crazy. This is going to be a hands-on science lab that is good for K through 5, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Week 7 is Teamwork Week, and we are going back to the Baltimore Orioles. We're going to get out at Camden Yards in the only way Active Minds knows how. We are going to be right on the first baseline. My belief is if the kids can see what's happening, they're going to watch the game. If we put a bunch of kids in outfield and they can't see what's happening, they're just not going to have the same experience as they are to actually see the players, what's happening and what's going on. So we have got really good seats all together, and we're going to be on the first baseline. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're trying to work it out with the Orioles where we can get in earlier in the day for batting practice to be able to see the Orioles batting beforehand, warming up, and then maybe get some autographs. We're working on it. Later in the week, we will be going to Sky Zone. Just like any summer, we try to get the kids out and active as much as possible. Every kid loves Sky Zone. We're throwing it in there so that way we can get some energy out as we're just about halfway through summer. Week 8 is a sweet week, and we will be inviting the Wedding Cottage back to all of our camps for a hands-on candy and cupcake workshop. It's going to be a lot of fun. The kids are going to get to make different themed cupcakes to be able to bring home. They're also going to be able to make candy. What week about sweets would be complete without a trip to Hershey Park? We will be going back to Hershey Park. We go every year. This is the week. It's going to be a lot of fun. From the boardwalk to big rides to small rides. There's really something for every kid. Week 9 has been in the works for about 5 years. We've been trying to think of how to bring a Harry Potter theme to Active Minds since Active Minds was invented. It is the ultimate theme, I think, in terms of ways to engage kids, the different readings that are possible in terms of the academic enrichment. It's just endless. So I am very excited when I saw that the Franklin Institute is bringing a Harry Potter themed exhibit to their program. And so this week we will be going to the Franklin Institute, which is hands down the best science center in the United States. I mean, it's not even close. The exhibits all throughout the museum, the kids love, but in particular, this one is going to be super exciting. And just the way it's read, it's not even open to the public yet. So I can't even tell you what it looks like because I haven't been there yet. But the way it's written, it looks really, really cool. And if your kids are a big fan of Harry Potter, this is the week for you. We are not going to stop there, because what I found is that the Mad Scientist has a Harry Potter themed science show, which basically goes over the magic of wizardry. It looks cool. There's going to be some explosions and a lot of historical relevance to how people were called wizards when they were really scientists 4, 5, 6, 700 years ago. And so it's going to be a really cool way to learn about wizardry using science. Week 10 is Cars Week. We will be going to the Smithsonian's American History Museum, which has just plethora of really cool exhibits to see. And we will do a highlights tour of other things other than cars. But they have a particularly interesting exhibit called America on the Move, which kind of goes over all the different transportation mechanisms within the history of America and how it has affected American travel and business and things like that, from locomotives to cars, all the way up to Teslas. So we're going to be focusing first on that exhibit and then kind of doing a highlights tour. We'll be able to see Abraham Lincoln's hat, the George Washington statue that's massive in there. It looks like Zeus, which is always a big hit. So we'll be at the Smithsonian's American History Museum all day. Now later this week, we are going to try to do something, and again, I'm a little nervous about this because I've never done something like this, but we're going to try to do Cars Active Mind style. So we are in talks with many of the car groups, car clubs of Maryland. That is the Historical Society, where they have like Model Ts and 57 Chevys, all the way up to classic cars and muscle cars. And what we're basically doing is working with the Baltimore Ravens to use one of their lots to have our own Active Minds car exhibit, if you will. And so all these car company or car clubs can come and show off their cars, kind of show kids how the internal combustion engines work, things like that, how cars have changed over time, and actually get to sit in them. And we're going to end it with an experience only Active Minds could bring you, which is we're calling the Lamborghini experience. We are literally renting a Lamborghini convertible, and on lot H that we'll be using for the Baltimore Ravens, half of it is going to be coned off into a big circle, and kids can wait in line, and literally they're going to get to drive in a Lamborghini. Every kid should be excited about this, particularly my kids. I mean, all the YouTubers all have Lamborghinis, so I was amazed that my kids at 6 and 9 know what a Lamborghini is, but apparently it's all the rage within these YouTubers. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a heck of a memory, and I can't wait for that one. We end camp with Art Week. 2 very hands-on, one is a pun, haha. 2 hands-on art activities. First, we will be going to McFadden. McFadden is an art glass blowing studio in Baltimore. We've been to them many times, most recently I think 2019 again, and kids will have several different options, from starfish to a rose. I want to say that they can do like a ladle for an oven, and they get to pick the colors, and these kind of artists work with the kids within this molten glass to be able to manipulate and shape it into these different beautiful works of art. It is amazing what the kids can accomplish. Later on, we're going to have the Waxed Hand Company come to camp, and kids are actually going to make a sculpture of their hand, however they want to do it. They're going to do a wax sculpture with different colors and artistic ways to represent it at camp. It's going to be very hands-on, ha ha ha, and a great way to end camp. If anybody has any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I am here to help. It's what we do, and we cannot wait to see you again this summer.